Hey Han, I'm Chloe, and this is the shoulder mount tutorial. My mission is to share my passion for pole dancing and make pole dancing easy to learn and accessible. This is the 25th video of the intermediate pole trick tutorial series. In order to maximize your training out of all the videos, I highly recommend you to start from the very first video of this playlist, as the tricks will be a progression of the video before. The shoulder mount is such an impressive trick in the intermediate level pole trick. We'll be going through 6 hand grip variations and also spinning forward and backwards as well. The prerequisite of this move is a shoulder mat hang, so make sure you watch that tutorial before attempting this one. This video is mirrored for your ease of learning. I'll have a red wristband on my right limbs to indicate the right side of my body if you do get confused of the directions. This trick tutorial is created for you for information and educational purposes only, and for you to enjoy learning pole dancing from the comfort of your own home. Please participate at your own risk and don't work beyond your capability, and seek help or spotting when necessary. For any health concerns, please make sure you seek professional medical advice. Please warm up before you try this trick. I have a warm up depending on your level under each playlist so that you can warm up before you try the tricks. If you're looking to further your pole journey in combining tricks and dance together, then consider subscribing to my online learning platform, Pole Art Vault, where you learn tricks and dance together and learn an entire routine with combos and dance together. You can find the link in the description below for further information. Alrighty, without further ado, let's get into the shoulder mount tutorial. Alrighty, now let's get into our conditioning. Now we're gonna start off with our leg conditioning first, and then we're gonna work our way up. So let's start off with our straddle leg lifts. Now these might feel a little bit crampy. If they do feel crampy, you're definitely doing that right. So let's try coming down onto the floor. Now I'm gonna face the side so that you can see, but we're gonna be using the pole for this one. Now when you sit on your butt, I want you to ensure that all the way from your tailbone and your lower back, your upper back is flat on the pole. Now from here, we're gonna come into a straddle position. Now again, when you come into a straddle, just make sure that your tailbone is all the way up, and then I'm gonna start off by switching on my core and engaging my core. Now from here, think about straightening your legs and squeeze your quads. I'm pressing through my hands, so hands come down onto the floor. I'm gonna press the floor away so that I can keep my back nice and flat, and see if you can lift one leg up at a time. Now, if you're finding this tricky already, I do totally get it. It's gonna be really hard for you to try this if you haven't done this for the first time. Now, make sure that if you are lifting, use your hands to press and see if you can lift just like a millimeter off the floor, and you're doing it right. So let's try 8 on each side, so keeping the back nice and flat, or you can get both of your hands straddling over one leg. This is totally up to you. 7, 6, 5, 4, good, keep that back flat. 3, 2, and 1. Well done. Woo! Again, if you're feeling that crampy sensation through your quad, you're definitely doing that right. All right, let's try moving on to the other side. I'm gonna face forward so that you can see. Again, make sure you keep that back nice and flat, engaging through your core. I want you to think about lifting through your hip. Both hands come to one side of your leg. I'm gonna face directly forward. And 8, point your toe. 7, good, engage through your core. 6, 5, 4, good, lift a little bit. 3, 2, and last one. Good, well done. All right, if you need to stand up, shake your hips off, shake your legs off. If you need to stretch out your quad, feel free to do that. Ooh, good, well done. So there's your first conditioning done for your legs and the straddle work. Now this is gonna be very crucial for when you do your full straddle shoulder mounts. So just make sure that you keep working on them if you want nice straight straddle legs in your shoulder mount. Now let's start working on our core now. So we're going to come onto our back. So lying on your back, Now, you're gonna bend your knee and then flatten your feet down onto the floor. Now, first thing first, if you have a tendency to arch your back, I want you to think about tucking your tailbone in and really pressing your lower abdominal area onto the floor as you lift your butt off the floor. So you can see that my lower back is on the floor, really flat, and I'm lifting through my butt. So I want you to really work on this engagement and understand this core engagement. This is what you're gonna need when you come into your shoulder mount. Now from there, keep your butt lifted if you can. You're gonna bring your knees in and then lift into a tabletop. And then you're gonna drop it back down. Good. So again, you're gonna lift your butt off the floor, your lower back is flat on the floor. See if you can lift from there. And make sure your butt isn't coming down, coming to your tabletop so that your knee is tucked over your hip. Then you're gonna slowly drop it back down. Good, we're gonna do one more of that. So lift your butt off the floor by tucking your tailbone in, engaging your core. See if you can lift your legs up from there. Knee to hip in one line, and then you're gonna drop it down. Whew, well done. So you should really feel that core working. Nice. So if you wanna keep continuing with that, feel free to. Otherwise, we're gonna move on to the next set of exercises. So this time, we're going to straighten both of our legs up into the ceiling. Now see if you can lift your butt again off the floor. So your tailbone shouldn't be flat. You're lifting your butt so that you're really squeezing through your lower ab. From there, you're going to bring your leg out into a straddle and you're coming into a straddle pulse. Now, when you're doing these straddles, just make sure that you're not, your pole isn't in the way. Now, the other thing to note when you're coming to a straddle is you don't have to come into a true middle split where your hip to toe is in one line. You can actually bring your leg closer towards your shoulder into a straddle. So this is not a full middle split. This is actually a straddle where you bend your knee towards your shoulder into this froggy and you're coming into a straddle as you lift your toes a little bit higher. So we're gonna do a few straddles. So we're gonna bring your legs in, engage the core, come into a straddle, engage the core so you're lifting your butt off the floor the whole time, lift your toes and then into straddle. So when you come into a straddle, I want you to think about squeezing your outer glute. Oh, I got a cramp on my stomach. So lift the legs, straddle. Squeeze your outer glute as you bring your legs out. Good, 4, 3. Good, make sure you're bringing your knee towards your shoulder. 2. Good, last one. Well done. Alrighty, so if you need to just stretch out your abs, feel free to do that. Woo, wowee. So, there is all your core conditioning done. Now that we're done with those, let's start working with the pole and understanding the engagement in the shoulder mount. So we're going to come back down onto the floor, but this time facing away from the pole. Now you should be sitting about palm length away from the pole, and then we're gonna get our trap onto the pole. So you can start off with whichever trap you want to. I'm gonna come onto my left trap so that I can explain this through. Now, remember as we spoken in the shoulder mat hang tutorial, which if you haven't watched that, I go through every little technique, so please make sure you watch it. You're going to get your trap, so in between your shoulder blade and your spine onto the pole. So the positioning here is really important. Make sure that it's sitting right in between your shoulder and your spine. Now, when you're sitting upright, rather than leaning back, once you sit upright, I want you to get your hand just above the head. So we're starting in a cup grip, inside hand, so the same hand as a trap hand is gonna come onto the pole, cup grip, all fingers on one side of the pole. Your other hand is gonna come on top a little further away from you. You're gonna get your elbow shoulder width. See if you can take your legs up, so your foot down onto the floor. So bend your knee up into the ceiling, then see if you can thrust your hip, engage you through your core, and then you're gonna drop back down. Now, most common mistake here is when you're coming back down or even coming up, I see a lot of people arching the back, so make sure that you're not arching you're actually starting off by not arching, but engaging through the core. Tuck your tailbone in, engage the core, keep your core engaged, and then keep your core engaged as you come back down. And that's really gonna help you a lot in your shoulder mount journey so that you're not flopping and not completely disengaging through your core. So we're gonna try on the other side so that we can even it out. I'm gonna get the pole onto my right trap. I'm sitting about a hand length away. I'm tucking my legs in so that my feet are flat on the floor. Make sure that your knees are shoulder width. Inside hand, so my right hand comes into a cup grip. Outside hand on top of it, so my right hand is closer to me. Elbow shoulder width. You're gonna lift up. Think about pushing the pole out of the socket. So you're pushing the pole away from you. Push the pole away. Tuck your tailbone in, lift, engage through the core, make sure that you're still pressing your hips forward, then dropping back down as you keep your core engaged. Nice, well done. Now, there's your first conditioning on the pole. Let's move on into the next one. Next one, we're gonna start lifting the knee up into the ceiling and see if you can tuck it towards the shoulder. So I'm gonna come back onto the first side, so then my left side. Setup is the exact same. Tuck your tailbone in, engage your core. You're gonna look up towards the ceiling. Remember, you're still engaging through the back of your neck as well. So rather than lean back, I want you to think about engaging. Tuck your chin slightly towards the chest. We're gonna look up, lift the leg. See if you can tuck your knee up, and then you're gonna drop it back down. Nice. I know that this is very tiring, so just remember that give yourself a little bit of grace, and also when you're practicing these, you don't have to do so many until you're super fatigued. Just do a few so that your body starts to understand the engagement. Let's try it on the other side. Now on the other side, I'm gonna face a different direction so that you can see what my knee is doing. Now, what my knee is doing is I'm tucking my knee towards my chest and I'm actually opening my knee out to the side. So just remember to externally rotate your knee as you come in position. So I'm gonna come onto this side so that you can see what my knee is doing. I'm lifting up, lifting the knee, and then I'm opening as I pull it towards my shoulder. And then I'm dropping it down. Well done. Alrighty, well done on completing all the conditioning exercises. So remember that these conditioning exercises are gonna help you a lot with the shoulder mount, but the shoulder mount hang will also help you a lot. So make sure you keep working on those. Now let's get into our shoulder mount. Now for our shoulder mount today, we're gonna be trying 6 different hand grips. We will also be trying different entries into it. And lastly, directions, so spinning forward and backwards. And this is what a shoulder mount looks like. Cup grip, true grip, mixed grip, twisty grip, elbow grip. Alrighty, so we are gonna be trying so many different hand grips. So just keep in mind that going through all the exercises, you can try this in different grips. Now the most traditional one is our cup grip. So let's start off in our cup grip. So we're trying this from the floor. Now, once you come onto the floor, so you're gonna start off by just lying all the way flat on your back and getting the pole onto your trap. Now from here, you're gonna reach your hand a little bit high and just lift your upper back off the floor so you're pressing your trap onto the pole. Now, make sure that you're coming into whichever grip you want to. I'm gonna come into my cup grip first. I'm gonna get my elbow shoulder width apart, bring my leg into a straddle, see if you can lift your lower back off the floor. Just a little bit. And there you have it. You are in your shoulder mount. So just keep in mind that again, the lower you start, the easier it is. So start really, really low and see if you can work yourself down. Now, the second point here is coming into a reverse plank and coming into a shoulder mount. So I'm gonna try this on my other side so that I even both sides. Make sure you do both sides. So this time, I'm gonna come into that same position that we initially came into when we do our conditioning. So my hand, I'm sitting about a hand length away from the pole and I'm getting my left trap onto the pole. I'm just gonna switch it up and try my true grip this time. So this time, with my true grip hand, my inside hand, so same hand as the one on the trap on the pole is gonna come into a true grip, thumb facing up. Now the other hand is gonna come on top of it, both thumb facing up. Elbow shoulder width apart, and make sure that you're not overwrapping your wrist. Keep that wrist neutral so that you're not hurting your wrist. Now from here, I'm going to start pressing my hips up. Engage the core first, press the hip up. Now from there, you're gonna bring your inside leg up first. So the same leg as the one on the trap. See if you can tuck both of your knees and extend into a shoulder mount. Bend your knee back and then control it down by stepping down. Well done. All right, so give your trap a little bit of a rest. I know if it's your first time doing a shoulder mount, which if it is, I know that the shoulder mount is quite a lot through the trap and also a lot of work through the arms as well. So there is your second regression. And remember that you can always take one progression at a time as you try getting into your full shoulder mount. Perfect. So now that we've done it from a reverse plank, from here, we're gonna take it up a notch and come a little bit higher. So this time, we're gonna start by bending the knees. You'll squat and you can get your back against the pole. I'm gonna come onto my right side this time, and I'm gonna change my grip into a mixed grip. So this time, I'm gonna do my mixed grip. My inside hand is in a cup grip and outside hand in a true grip. So, I'm gonna sit down, squat down, right hand cup grip, left hand true grip. Now from here, I'm gonna thrust my hip up into the ceiling, engage through the core, push the pole out of the socket with your cup grip hand, push the pole away, and your true grip hand, you're pulling the pole down towards the floor. Lift your inside leg up, so always start with the inside, same leg as the trap shoulder, lift the leg up, tuck your knee towards your shoulder as much as you can, and see if you can lift into a froggy, then extend your leg into a straddle. And you're stepping down with your inside leg down, and then your outside leg. Well done. So there is your third point of entry. So we've done one from the floor, one from a reverse plank, and then one from a squat. Now, this is going to be one of our last entries, and this is from a standing position, which is the most ideal position that you want to work towards. Now, in order to do this, remember that you have to take these very slow progressions. Otherwise, it's going to be really hard for you to do it from standing, and ultimately you may get injured if you're not doing the moves correctly and safely. So make sure that you understand the engagement first before you get into the full shoulder mount. Now, I'm just going to try this on my left side this time, and I'm changing my hand back into a mixed grip, but I'm swapping my hand. So just then, my inside hand was in a cup grip. So this time around, I'm gonna get my inside hand a true grip and my outside hand a cup grip. So I'm swapping the mixed grip hand. So remember, with anything to do with true grip, you wanna think about pulling the pole out of the ceiling, and with your cup grip hand, you're pushing the pole away from you. Now this time, when you are coming into a shoulder mount, I want you to, again, start off by tucking your tailbone in, engaging your core as if you're coming into a shoulder mount hang. Now you're gonna tuck your knee towards your shoulder, knee facing out, press your hips up, then come into your full shoulder mount, and then step down very controlledly. Nice, well done. So just remember that when you wanna do your full shoulder mount, and I guess the correct positioning is when your hips are higher than your head. Now, there's no right or wrong for going higher or lower because it depends on what move is about to come after that. But with your full shoulder mount, hips are at least above the head or at head height. Perfect, so there is your full shoulder mount. Now let's try a different entry into a shoulder mount this time, which we will try from an inverted crucifix. Now the inverted crucifix way is a great way to firstly condition your body, but also it's sort of like a different entry into it. Now, with your inverted crucifix entry, once you come into your inverted crucifix, you're getting both of your hands depending on the grip, but this one, because we're gonna do a cup grip, you're gonna get your cup grip hand in front of your stomach. Now from there, you're gonna push the pole away as you slide your legs away from you. And then whichever hand that is closer to your chest is, you're gonna get the trap onto the pole. So let's say, for example, if my right hand is, because we're upside down, this right now would be on top, but when you're going upside down, this would be my bottom hand. So the hand that's closer to the floor, same trap is gonna come onto the pole. Now from there, you're gonna push your hips away, then you're gonna come into a full straddle shoulder mount, and then please make sure you control the exit. So I'm gonna come into my ankle grab or inverted crucifix. So if my right hand is closer to the floor, same side of my trap is gonna come onto the pole. Now before that, your pole should be resting on your chest. I want you to think about sliding your legs out as you roll onto your shoulder. Then from there, you're gonna come into your straddle shoulder mount, control the booty down, all the way down onto the floor. And that's gonna be great conditioning for you to do. Now, with that entry, I do have a lot of people reporting that the collarbone hurts. That is, firstly, it might be because you're rounding your back too much, or it also might be that you're arching your back too much. So remember to keep that posture nice and flat. So really engage through the shoulders, keep that shoulder nice and neutral. Now the other thing is you need to slide your hips down to the floor so that you don't get your collarbone grazing. Now you can either mitigate that by both hands in front of your stomach and then sliding down into it, or you can actually get your hands a little bit higher and then tuck your tailbone in. I'm gonna try this on the other side. I'm gonna face a different direction so that you can see. If my left hand is on top, I'm gonna press my hips up first. So I have a little bit of gap between myself and the pole, then I'm coming into the shoulder mount. So that's totally up to you. If you feel like pressing up is a little bit hard, because you do need a really good ankle lock, feel free to do it from a slide down, so you just slide your hips away. Or if you want to try the other one, you can think about pressing your hips a little bit higher, pressing your back away, then you get your full shoulder mount from an ankle grab. Well done. So now we've done our 2 entries. So we've done it from a regular standing position shoulder mount and also from a ankle grab or inverted crucifix. Now that my pole is on spin, I'm gonna show you how to spin forward and backwards. Now, just to change up my grip again, I'm gonna come into my elbow grip so that I can practice my elbow grip position. But feel free to do whichever grip that you like. Now, when you're spinning forward, you are stepping with your inside leg and swinging your outside leg up and over. Now, the important part about spinning is that with your inside leg, you need to think about kicking your leg backwards so that you end up spinning the direction you want. So remember that when you're running, you're essentially pressing the floor away with your leg. So when you kick backwards, that's when you step forward, right? Run forward. So same exact concept. I want you to think about kicking your leg backwards so that you spin forward. So you're gonna get your trap onto the pole. If you wanna try the elbow grip with me, right trap, right elbow hook. Now, this is not gonna be for everyone, especially if your shoulder range isn't great. So remember to always try different grips first. So I'm gonna hook my elbow and then my palm is facing away from me. Now remember with your elbow hook, I want you to think about pushing the pole away from you, and then your cup grip hand, same thing, push the pole away. You're gonna really engage through your core, engage the back of your neck. You're stepping in with your inside leg, so the same leg as the arm hand. Step in, swing your leg up, and come into your full shoulder mount. And then stepping out with your inside leg first. Well done. Now, remember, if you don't have enough spin, it's probably because you're not kicking your leg back, so make sure you kick it nice and firmly. Let's try it on the other side, and this time, I'm gonna just try the traditional cup grip hand. Now, when you wanna spin the other way around. So I'm gonna stay on the same shoulder so that you understand the mechanic of it. This time, you're going to step with your outside leg and swing your inside leg across. So remember that with your outside leg, it's the opposite leg. So the opposite leg steps and you're gonna swing your leg across the body to get that spin. So remember, if you get a little bit of oblique twist, it'll also help you get that spin. So I'm gonna look towards the top of the pole, engage through my back of the neck, engage through the core. I'm stepping with the outside leg this time, swinging my inside leg across, and then coming into my shoulder mount. Step down, and coming out. Well done. So remember that I know spinning forward and backwards is a little bit of an interesting concept and it might take a little bit of time to understand it, but try it a few times and then remember try both sides because you might find that one side works better with forward and backwards as well. Well done. All right, so let's go through some tips and common mistakes. Now, first things first, let's talk about our grip points because this is going to be very crucial when you are trying to understand the move. So first thing, we've got both of our hands, then we also have our trap. Now remember with your trap that it shouldn't be sitting on anything bony because if it does, it's going to be quite painful. Just make sure that it's sitting right in between your shoulder blade and your spine. Now, if you have really sweaty skin, I do highly recommend you to just wipe any excess oil on your skin or any sweat, and that will help you, and then try reapplying any grip that you have on your trap. If you are wearing like a shirt, you might want to take it off because that is going to get in the way of your shoulder. And if you have any thick strap, any sports bra strap, you might want to move it out of the way as well because that will help you get the skin grip that you need, unless you're wearing sticky leggings or any sticky top. Now, with your hands, remember that you do need a lot of grip through your hands as well, so make sure that you apply something either drying or tacky depending on your body type. I always highly recommend you to try different grip aids, even a concoction of grip aids, so give that a crack. Now, the next point is understanding the engagement. So you can probably really feel that your core is doing a lot of the work. So if you just remember that with any sort of move, you don't want to overcompensate by using just one part of the body because let's say, for example, if I'm in my cup grip shoulder mount, if I have really good shoulders, I might be able to just lift my legs up without using my core. However, you are doing yourself a disservice by doing that because then you're not developing the core you need for other moves. And also, if you disengage your core, it is very dangerous for your back because you're going to end up hurting your back. So remember, your trap should be engaging, your bicep should be engaging, your lat should be engaging by pulling your elbows down. Your shoulder blade should be engaging as well because we are pulling our shoulders slightly down to the floor. Then also you're pulling and engaging through your core. You're squeezing your hips forward and your back is doing a lot of work as well. So just remember the key points when you are doing your shoulder mount, and obviously if you are doing it aerially, you can't really think about what's engaging and not unless you're very comfortable with the move. So always start really low. Start the conditioning exercises that we did on the floor first, and remember to just try thinking about and feel where you feel the engagement. And the more body awareness you have, the easier it is to navigate through your pole journey as well. Now, this is always a debate when it comes to shoulder mount. In terms of your hip positioning compared to your head, in a regular shoulder mount, you would have your hips around head height. However, depending on the move that you want to get after, you might want to get your hips really close to the pole. But again, this is really up to what your transition is, and this is not something I am covering for this particular one. But let's say, for example, if you want to get into a outside leg hang from a shoulder mount, then that means that you have to press your hips a little bit higher. So if I'm here, I have to press my hips high so that I can hook the knee. So just try different hip positioning if you do want to work on shoulder mounts and different transitions after that. Now, the next tip I have for you is understanding the different hand grips and what they do. So just remember that with your cup grip and elbow grip, you want to think about pushing the pole away, or almost like you're pulling the pole out of the socket. With your true grip or twisty, you want to think about pulling the pole out of the ceiling. So just remember that these key components with the hand grip is going to help you with the mechanic of the shoulder mount grips. Now, the next common mistake is the hip dropping a lot in your shoulder mount. So this could be multiple different reasons. And the first common reason is your leg positioning. So if your leg is pointing really high up into the ceiling, it's gonna be really hard for you to counterbalance your leg. So it's actually easier for you to come into a full straddle and bringing your leg into a pancake rather than sort of like a very wide split. So just remember that when you're doing any shoulder mount grips, that it's crucial for both of your legs to be coming towards the pole as close as possible. And this is how you counter the weight, because you can see that if I'm here, it's really hard for me to hold. But as soon as I tip my legs backwards, because your leg is going past the pole, it's actually countering that center of gravity and also the weight. So just remember, if you don't understand the leg positioning, try it from the floor first. The more you try from the floor, the more you understand. Your leg shouldn't be flaring up as such. It should be planting down to the floor, to the side. Now, if you are like, oh, the straddle flexibility isn't that great, remember, keep practicing your conditioning exercises. This is probably really now your time to really work on anything straddle legs, because in the future, we will have more moves where you have to do straddle legs as well. Now, the next common mistake is the neck engagement. Now, unless you think about engaging the back of your neck, you might not even think about it. And this is something that I didn't even think about until recently, where if you're just dangling your neck backwards, then you're not really using your neck muscles to pull up. Now, the best way to understand the neck engagement, like we did in the shoulder mount hang tutorial, is pressing. So getting your back against the pole, lifting your chest up, and then slide the pole slightly onto the top of the head. And then from there, engage the core and press the back of the neck onto the pole. And you should feel your upper back and also your neck engage. And that is the exact engagement you want when you come into your shoulder mount. So remember, think about shortening your back of your neck, tuck your chin in slightly, and try engaging a little bit more through the back of the neck and your upper back as well. Now, the other thing to know when you are in your full shoulder mount is making sure that you're not arching your back. So keep your posture upright, but I want you to think about squeezing through your lats and engaging through the core. Now, if you want to switch on any parts, it's really hard to do it up there because nothing makes sense as soon as you go up, right? So remember to engage before you lift your legs up. So already if I'm in this position, I'm gonna start by tucking in. So engage through the core. My leg is still flat on the floor. Engage the core, keep the back flat. See if you can lift from there. So try engagement exercises before you do it, and it's gonna help you a lot just understanding your body and with your pole journey as well. Now, if you struggle with straightening your knees when you come into your straddle, you might need a little bit more conditioning. So make sure that you keep working on the conditioning exercises on the floor that we did, the straddle leg lifts, or you can even try it from here, from standing up. You can just lift your legs, just straightening those knees. And those are all the tips and common mistakes. Now that we're on the topic of shoulder mounts, I just want to give you a little reminder that this move is freaking hard. It is not easy by far from any of the moves we've definitely done in the past. And just reminder that for some people, it takes years to do. Some people might take months. It's really dependent on your pole journey and what your background is. And most people that do pole right now, we don't have background in anything. So just remind yourself that sometimes it just takes a little bit of time. It takes perseverance, but you'll definitely get there. If you really want to progress in your shoulder mount journey, I highly recommend you to condition your body every 2-3 days. Just remember that rest and recovery is very important as part of your training. And if you do want to have really like intense training days, I would probably recommend you giving a little bit of a break in between. So maybe one intensive training every 3-4 days. Now again, perseverance is key. If you feel like you're feeling a little bit discouraged with your training, maybe do 2-3 minutes of conditioning exercise so that you don't lose the strength, and then do other moves that boost your confidence. And that's how I train as well. Sometimes I have days where I literally can't grip and I'm just doing a terrible job with my training. So I do a little bit of conditioning so that I don't lose the strength for some of the moves. And then I move on to training that makes me feel good about myself and fill my own cup. So try taking that training approach, and that will help you boost your confidence overall by a lot. Thank you so much for joining me in this shoulder mount tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it, and I shall see you in the very next tutorial. Bye! Are you a good boy? I'm so thirsty. Got my custom cup, isn't it so cute? I'm thirsty, so I shouldn't be drinking chai, but you know, I'll have some water after this. I promise.